Hello, hello, hello. Hey, friends. If you're here watching this replay, thank you so much for stopping by. My name is Svava Brooks, and I'm a trauma recovery coach. And I love to hang out here on YouTube Tuesdays and Thursdays, most weeks, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where I hang out with my fellow survivor thrivers as we work our way through my book, Releasing Your Authentic Self. If you're curious about the trauma recovery coaching that I offer, please visit my website, svavabrooks.com, where you can learn more about the services that I offer. As a coach, my agenda is always to empower you, my friend, with the tools that you need to heal and restore, because I believe we all come fully equipped with everything that we need. We just need to be reminded of what's there. But if you're here with me live right here, right now, I'd love to say hello. I'd love to connect with you. So please say hello. Let me know that you are here so I can welcome you. We usually do a little bit of catching up, connecting, and then we dig deep into our topic of the day. And today we are going to be talking about self-care. Of course, everybody's talking about self-care right now, especially during these COVID times, right? And doing the best we can to stay connected. But we are going to dig a little deeper into this topic today for survivors of childhood abuse, trauma, and neglect. We are going to reflect a little bit about the ACEs, the Adverse Childhood Experience Study. I love to talk about the ACEs study because it, for me, and I know for so many other people, we don't always understand the impact of trauma and growing up with chronic stress. But once I saw the ACE study in 2006, I can still remember that experience. I'm going to share that with you guys here in a little bit, but it was kind of the wake-up call that I needed. Scientifically proven data in front of me that I needed to really get serious about taking care of my body, my home, right? My house, my temple. So that was the turning point. So love to pass on that knowledge and information to others, because I feel the more we know, the more empowered we are about the choices that we're making. Hey, Sue. Hey, friend. How are you doing? It's good to see you. It's late for our UK friends. How are you? Thanks for those flowers. So pretty. You know me. I was actually doodling this morning some flowers, right? It's cold and a little gray in Portland, Oregon today. So I did what I could to bring some sunshine into my life. So I was drawing flowers, pretty flowers. Makes me happy. How are you holding up today, my friend? How are you holding up? I know you've got a lot going on. You are in bed and sleepy. Yep, I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear you got your PJs on and that you are in bed. Absolutely. I'm a big fan of sleep. Sleep is a top priority for all humans. Coming from someone who resisted sleep, love to stay up late. I was a night owl for a long time until something shifted eventually. And now my body's catching up, I think. I know you can't catch up on sleep, but we try, don't we? Hey, Elizabeth, Spain is in the house. How are you doing, my friend? Hey, EJ. I was thinking about you today. Good to be with you guys. So if we start right here, right now, how are we doing? How are you guys feeling? I brought my cup of tea. Keep my hands warm. Same, sleepy. Yep. I get it. It's late for you guys. So We're glad you're here. Very glad that you're here with us to check in. Always good to see you. Like I just mentioned, the topic today, self-care. Self-care. We all need to do our best, right? To invest in good self-care, right? Especially true for survivors of child abuse, trauma, and neglect. It's important for all humans, but we're going to dig into this a little bit. Important to do the things that are good for you, the level of stress, neglect, and self-harm that I put my body through to survive the pain and the abuse of my childhood, right, is like a double whammy. It was hard growing up, and then what I put myself was not easy either. So according to research, the ACE study, right, the abuse I survived may have shortened my life expectancy by 10 years or more. Yeah, when I read that and learned about that, that was kind of like, okay, all right. Brought out a full range, the whole spectrum of feelings. So, and then I asked here the 2 questions for us today. Are you familiar with the ACE study? Have you gotten your ACE score? And then the second question was, depending on your ACE number, what changes do you need to make with your self-care, your daily self-care, in order to take better care of yourself? So, and we had here a couple of people sharing their comments, and I'm just going to refresh. So, and I did post in our group, and I'm happy to share it with you guys here. I'll put it in the chat as well, if anyone is curious about their ACE score. Hey, Donna. How are you doing, friend? Good to see you. Good to see you. So I'm curious, my friends, who here has learned about the ACE study and who here knows their ACE score? I'm just curious if you do. My scarf is getting caught in my jewelry. So while you guys are looking it up, and we can do the questions together if you guys like, I'm happy to read them out loud. It's 10 questions that you answer, yes or no. Okay, Donna says, I've forgotten the score. I looked at it a while back, but not recently. Okay, so we can, it's not that, you know, in terms of, I can just read out the questions and we can answer them together. But before I do, I'm just going to share, right, the CDC's Adverse Childhood Experience Study. Basically, I had my notes here. I was going to sound, I was going to read the summary for you about it. Got to put my glasses on. Of course, I lost my page. But basically, it was done by Kaiser and the CDC. And one of the authors, co-authors, Dr. Vincent Folletti, whom I've gotten to know personally, really an amazing human being. He authored this study, and wrote a lot about it, but it's basically the relationship of childhood abuse and household dysfunction to many of the leading causes of deaths in adults, right? And what they found, right, the ACEs were astonishingly common, right? Who here thought that their home life childhood struggle was just in their house, their home? No. 4 or more categories of ACEs. It's incredibly common. So I will read here a little bit more to you for you guys. So like I said, the stunning link between childhood trauma and the chronic disease people develop as adults, as well as social and emotional problems. And this includes heart disease, lung cancer, diabetes, and many autoimmune diseases, as well as depression, violence, and being a victim of violence and suicide. So this study was from, I think, 98, or this is when the article was written. So this study was done in San Diego, Southern California, over the course of 15 years. And they interviewed about, I can't remember, it was 13 or 17,000 San Diegans, basically, that showed up for physical checkup at Kaiser. So, and the research results showed, right, that childhood trauma was very common, even in employed, white, middle-class, college-educated people with great health insurance. There was a direct link between childhood trauma and the adult onset of chronic disease, as well as depression, suicide, being violent, and a victim of violence. And more types of trauma increase the risk of health and social and emotional problems. People usually experience more than one type of trauma. Rarely is it only sexual abuse or only verbal abuse or only physical abuse, right? So here it is. A whooping 2/3 of the 17,000 people in the ACE study had a score of at least 1, right? 87% of those had more than 1. So the study's researchers came up with the ACE score to explain a person's risk for chronic disease. Think of it as a cholesterol score for your childhood toxic stress. You get 1 point for each type of trauma. The higher your ACE score, the higher your risk of health and social problems. And as your ACE score increases, so does the risk of disease, social, emotional problems. And with that ACE score of 4 or more, things start getting serious. The likelihood of chronic pulmonary lung disease increases 390%, hepatitis 240%, depression 460%, attempted suicide 1220%. So okay, so that's the summary. That will, I hear you, Elizabeth. Hold on, right? So we'll do this together. Hey, Tracy. So here are the questions, and you mark down for yourself, so 1 for every yes. All right. And here's the thing, my friends, it's, I understand sometimes hard to learn some things about ourselves, but there's also good news. I took this information and totally owned it. And that's why I'm excited to share this with you, because yes, this helps us to understand, and really, this is what lit the fire under my butt to get serious about taking care of my body. So And the most important thing to remember is that the ACE score is meant as a guideline. If you experience other types of toxic stress over months or years, then those would likely increase your risk of health consequences. Okay, ready? Number 1, did a parent or other adult in the household often or very often swear at you, insult you, put you down, or humiliate you? Or act in a way that made you afraid that you might be physically hurt? If there is a yes, then you enter 1. If there's no, 0, right? Number 2, and if you're not sure, you can maybe say, Svava, can you please repeat question X? But I did also put the link in the live stream for you if you prefer to read it yourself. 2, did a parent or other adult in the household often or very often push, grab, slap, or throw something at you, or ever hit you so hard that you had marks or were injured? So if it's a no, that's a 0. If it's a yes, then that's a 1. And please, my friends, be mindful and give yourself some compassion here as we go through these together. This is just to, right, become informed about the impact of our childhoods. 3, did an adult or a person at least 5 years older than you ever touch or fondle you, or have you touched their body in a sexual way, or attempt or actually have intercourse with you? No, that's a 0. Yes, then that's a 1. Number 4, did you often or very often feel that no one in your family loved you or thought you were important or special? Or your family didn't look out for each other, feel close to each other, or support each other? Again, if it's a no, yes, Donna. I don't know why, but in my book, yes, I'll repeat number 4. In my book, it counts if they're the same age as you and they harmed you. Number 4, did you often or very often feel that no one in your family loved you or thought you were important or special? Or your family didn't look out for each other, feel close to each other, or support each other? That was number 4. Number 5, did you often or very often feel that you didn't have enough to eat, had to wear dirty clothes, and had no one to protect you? Or your parents were too drunk or high to take care of you or to take you to the doctor if you needed it? So, yes or no to that. For each yes, that's a 1. Number 6, were your parents ever separated or divorced? Number 7, was your mother or stepmother often or very often pushed, grabbed, slapped, or had something thrown at her? Or sometimes, or often, or very often kicked, bitten, hit, or hit with a fist or something hard? Or ever repeatedly hit over at least a few minutes, or threatened with a gun or a knife? That was number 7. I know these are intense. These are intense. Number 8, did you live with anyone who was a problem drinker or alcoholic or who used street drugs? No or yes. Number 9, was a household member depressed or mentally ill, or did a household member attempt a suicide? 9, that was 9. 10, did a household member go to prison? That was the last one, 10. Did a household member go to prison? So, I don't know, EJ, why it has to be a mother or stepmother. Elizabeth got a 5. Donna, not my mother, but 7 was my experience. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Donna. 2 is a 6. And so I go between 8 or 9. Not that it's a competition at all, not one that I wanna write. And the between 8 and 9 was because I know my caregiver tried to commit suicide while expecting me. So I wasn't there to witness it, but right. So that brings it to a 9. But every time when I reread over those questions, I think back and reflect on up until college, I didn't think it was that bad, right? Yeah. And I think that works, EJ. Absolutely. I think it should be a caregiver, because we know it can definitely go, both ways, meaning if either one of our caregivers, we watched that growing up. So and I just told you guys earlier, when I first heard, I was in San Diego at a trauma conference. Some of you may have heard me share this story in 2006 when I heard Dr. Vincent Folletti basically describe the study and talk about it. And I literally had to kind of hold on to the chair that I was sitting in, because I was like, part of me wanted to get up and leave. It's like, right? Because according to the research, right, like I said, when you have 4 or more, the ACE study findings in comparison, individuals with 4 plus ACEs had significantly greater odds of reporting heart disease, twice as likely, any cancer, 1.9, chronic bronchitis or emphysema, 3.9, stroke, 2.4, diabetes, 1.6, ever attempting suicide, 12 times, severe obesity, 1.6, 2 or more weeks of depressed mood in the past year, 4.6, using illicit drugs, 4.7, ever injecting drugs, 10.3, current smoking, 2.2, ever having sexually transmitted disease, 2.5. So again, in comparison to those reporting no ACEs, individuals with 4 plus ACEs had significantly greater odds of reporting the following diseases that I read, right? Twice as likely to get heart disease, almost 4 times as likely to have bronchitis, almost 5 times as likely to have depressed episodes, and twice as likely to be smokers, 10 times injecting drugs, right? So once the kind of my emotional reaction to this information kind of settled, I was like, okay, what does that tell me? And again, why? We know how trauma impacts the body, right? A little bit of stress into the body is normal to handle. Do I need to fight or do I need to flee, right? So a little bit of activation in our nervous system is normal for all bodies, but it's meant to come down after stressful episode, or we are supposed to have caregivers that help us to co-regulate or help to bring us back into the present moment, or help to soothe us or keep us safe and comfortable. But then for a lot of us, we, instead of, okay, I'm safe now, we, I often use the thinking about it, it's like some of us, we have to run from the bear or okay, I can't fight this bear, I need to run away from it. But with my nervous system, I lived with the bear, right? There was a constant threat of being attacked by a bear. So I never went to sleep feeling safe in my house. And so my nervous system never got to relax. It was always jacked up, hormones, pumped into my nervous system. I was on high alert constantly until I collapsed, right? And I was just mentioning as trouble with sleep. For me, it wasn't safe to go to sleep. This body's like, no, we're not going to sleep. We're not going to bed. We're not going to, try to relax, because then who's going to be on guard? So that chronic stress, even though I looked fine on the outside, right? Yes, I was smoking a lot of cigarettes by the time I was in college. It was a very effective way to numb the pain. And drinking, I partied a lot. I worked incredibly hard. I had 2 jobs going through college, just whatever I could to not stop, to not slow down. And so then seeing this study made me realize, even though my body looked okay, that the toxic stress would present itself one day. And so I was known for power naps. Hey, EJ, me too. Me too. I can still remember before I came to the States, was going through junior college and working 2 jobs. I would come home to my grandma's house and nap. So, and actually my grandma's house was a safe place. So I would usually fall asleep there. Hey, Lady Leo. Hey, Lady Leo. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. So yes, like I said, understanding, right, the impact of stress on our bodies. And then for me, it was to understand, where did all this stress come from? Like I said, I had a story that my childhood was fine. I was okay. It wasn't that bad. It was in the past. It was, I was in a different country. I was far away from those people. I didn't need to deal with it. I didn't need to talk about it. I need to feel it. But the thing is, my past kept showing up in my day-to-day life. And that's what finally got my attention. And I shared with a friend, and they were like, yeah, you need to go talk to someone. You need to go get some help with that. So exactly, Sue. My childhood was normal. Yeah, mine was normal too. But once you read down that list, that's not normal. But what are we learning through that A study is how normal it is. And like Vincent Folletti, when he tells the story, how the research started, is that he was actually running a a clinic, obesity clinic, and they were taking obese people and helping them lose a significant amount of weight. And what started to happen was that the people that were the most successful in the program started dropping out. They disappeared. And so they would send out nurses or follow up with those people and ask, what's happening? Why are you stopping? Because you're actually having success here. And then what they then found was that a lot of those people recognized that they then were starting to remember their trauma. The weight was a wall of protection. And losing that weight was a trigger. And that's where Vincent started asking on one of the questionnaire, actually, especially around sexual abuse. And he got a lot of resistance from Kaiser, from his colleagues for a long time to, asking that question. So if you Google ACE study and obesity, there's a lot of articles, a lot of research out there. A lot has been written about the relationship with childhood trauma and obesity. So that's where the ACE study started. And Vincent has traveled the world and talked and explained this study. And it was interesting also to hear him say that he had spoken all over the world, but he had yet to be asked to speak to his colleagues. Maybe, Lady Leo, the original study was in San Diego. I don't know, were you in San Diego in the 90s? But I know it spread into other Kaiser medical, places, obviously nationwide once. I think the original study was done in San Diego. Because it was done for over about 13 or 15 years. I always forget. But it was published in 1998. So Donna says, I thought my childhood was normal. I thought the violence and constant criticism was a commonplace. I didn't know that if it wasn't current, that it still counted. I hear you, Donna. I hear you. I hear you. And that's right. So much of our healing journey is to understand the impact, right? The impact on our bodies, the impacts on our thinking, the impacts on how we feel about ourselves, how we see ourselves, how do we relate to the world and people in it, right? It's all connected. And then to understand, right, because of this chronic trauma, right? This is why I love teaching TRE so much, tension releasing exercises to help people release the chronic tension that we've been holding in our bodies for so long. Because when we hold tension in our bodies are stuck in a loop. Your body is trying to release the chronic hormones, the chronic tension. But it can't in many ways because we don't have the safety, the understanding, the support for a long time. So for the healing journey, right, is for us to make friends with this body that is always, 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 always doing the best it can to keep you optimized, right? Conserving energy and trying to stay healthy. That's what the body is always doing. And when we are stuck with chronic trauma or tension pattern in the body, right? 80% of the messages come up from the body. Your body is constantly scanning the environment for neuroception information from the environment, and we take it in through this body, which is a filter of, for many of us, expecting the worst, right? I'm in trouble. I'm bad. I'm not good enough. These people are out to get me. And the message is coming up from our body to our mind is that there's something wrong, there's something wrong, there's something wrong. And then the mind is interpreting the stress in the body. Hey, Ricky. Good to see you, my friend. Yes, I hear you. Yes, we do downplay it, and it's a survival strategy. We can't deal with the overwhelm when we are younger. So as we get older, I find it's very helpful for me to understand my resistance to the truth. So I needed scientific proof. So Elizabeth, I did post the link. I am happy to post it for you again here in the chat. And here, ace is too high. I hear you, Lady Leo. Exactly. And that's the hardest part about the healing journey. It's understanding the impact, the consequences, and we're correcting the consequences, right? Because we can't change the past, but we can change how we feel about ourselves today. We can finally do our best, right, to understand, why is this body always ready to go to war? Why does it always feel like, right? It's like, okay, I get it. Okay, I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. To help the nervous system, right? It's on that curve. Help the nervous system come down from the freeze or the high position on the fight or flight, because when we are up high on that curve, we have dropped down from this part of our brain down to our lizard brain, our emotional, mind, and we are no longer connected to the wisdom and our reasoning and logic, the newest part of the human brain here. When we are high level of stress, we drop down because it's just about survival. It's just about survival. And what's helpful is to track our state, right? Notice, how am I thinking? What am I thinking? How am I feeling? And to track it backwards. Oh, I wonder why I feel what I'm feeling. And come back to the body. And then we get to like do a little reality check. Am I here or am I in the past? And then slowly, because the same way this body is so good at, protecting itself, it also has what it takes to heal and restore. Right? It does. Hey, Rob. Hey, friend. Elizabeth, I don't want to hurt people, but I resort easily to the lizard brain and fight. I hear you, Elizabeth. I hear you, my friend. We are all doing the best we can. What, I know we do, and I had to learn to do, was to apologize and realize how making amends, meaning you know, I'm not forgiving who hurt me, or it's not about making that okay, the past abuse, but it's about how can I take responsibility for how I am responding to what's happening in here, and be kind and gentle with myself and my nervous system when there's a breakdown in here because of what happened. And Dan Siegel, the I think he's a neurobiologist, scientist. He's so many things, multiple degrees. But what he talks about, what helps us to heal and helps us to heal our families, is to make sense of things, make sense of the stories, make sense of the feelings. Like Elizabeth, once I was able to turn towards myself with kindness, it makes sense that, this body would hurt other bodies. I wouldn't physically hurt anyone, but I knew my words were sometimes hurtful, or I withheld love, which was hurtful, because I didn't know how to relate and to connect in that way. And it made sense to me. And instead of, like I said, being hard on myself or to beat myself up for it, I did what I could to show myself some kindness, And it helped to have a circle like this, to be in a support group with other survivors where that maybe also struggled with this, and we could show each other kindness and understanding. Exactly, Elizabeth. And then what we're doing when we understand it, we're actually bringing the connection up to our mind. Each time we talk through it and relate to it with kindness to ourselves, we are actually bringing the content online. We are making sense of it. I was going to ask the same thing, Rob. He says he's confused. We are happy you're here. So, all good. I wanted to share with you guys one of my favorite books about the ACE study. Nadine Burke Harris. She is now the Surgeon General or something for California. And she has an amazing, I think we've talked about her here before. She has an amazing TED Talk, and wrote about her experience with the ACE study. Yeah, exactly. It is a blurs day today, Rob. I get it. But I also like that she emphasized the healing, the long-term effects of childhood adversity. And that's the thing. What she talks about in this book and in her experience, and what she did her own research when she was managing clinics in San Francisco and Oakland for years, what she noticed, that what made a difference for children who were living with, in broken homes or single parent homes, or where there was violence in the home or in the neighborhood, that what she noticed, and Dr. Folletti talks about this too, that what made a difference in these kids' lives was that they had one adult, just one adult, that noticed and maybe asked how they were doing, or they connected with. And I don't know about you, but for me, it was, I had one. I had my grandmother, right? I had my grandma growing up. And I think it's because of her that I've managed and found and fought my way through. So I highly recommend this book. It's an easy read. And she, again, also explains this scarf is very hairy. So there's stuff all around my face. So it's a beautiful book and great to read. Exactly. Someone who noticed that you had one person that you knew, even they may not have been able to express it, but you knew somewhere that they cared, that they cared. So, Lady Leo shared with us today her comment in the group. She says, I'm not sure, but I think I was part of the original A study. I had Kaiser Permanente health issue years ago and remember being asked to participate in a survey. Upon finding out I was a survivor of childhood incest, I then took an assessment. My score was 8 then, and as you can see, it is 8 now. The difference is then the dysfunction of trauma was very prevalent in my life, and like now, it's part of the history of my story. The changes I've made holistically in my life since that time, both intentionally, unintentionally, has enhanced my quality of life. Beautiful, beautiful. Lady Leo. And that's exactly the point that I was trying to make here earlier is that when we help our body, right, once we recognize the impact and become, doing our best, become intentional about helping our body releasing stress and taking good care of it in terms of health and wellness, all the basic things, right? Sleep, food, exercise, water, play, right? All those things. Every little bit that we can makes a difference. Makes a difference. And of course, my favorite tool is self-compassion. Self-compassion for your body. As many of you have done some meditations with me, I love just to place my hand on my heart and just let my body slowly feel the warmth from my hand, because the body understands warmth and my body responds to kindness, because I was pretty harsh, really harsh and hard on myself and my body for a long time, because I thought there was something wrong with me. I thought I was bad, inherently bad, shameful, not good enough, never good enough. So, as we turn towards our bodies, to be gentle with ourselves. I hear you, Rob. I hear you, Sue. It makes the connection hard. It definitely does. But each moment we can, and we make the time to connect with our bodies, we rewire our nervous system. We rewire our bodies. Hey, EJ. Hey, EJ. I hear you, my friend. I hear you. Thank you for sharing that with us. I'm slowing down my breath Thanks for letting me know. It's good to know that maybe it is the treatment that you just got in from, or maybe, and what I want to encourage you to do, if you can, my friend, just let your body know, let your heart know, I can feel you. Let your body know it's okay. Let your heart know, I can feel you. I'm right here. I'm right here. And maybe, right, look around. It lowers our heart rate when we can look around, use our senses to look around and see, okay, I am safe. I can see things around me. I can connect myself here right now, look for some colors and some textures. Notice if your shoulders are pulling up, if you can gently drop your shoulders and push them back a little bit. Then we're kind of intervening on the nervous system that's maybe pulling in. Stretch your neck. And what's the sound that you hear around you? I hear a car outside driving by. I know you can hear my voice. What else can you hear? Bring our systems back to the presence and awareness of this. Also, what temperature do you feel? My hands are a little cold, but I have a warm cup of tea. Warming up my hands, noticing the warmth on my hands and the palm of my hands. And Elizabeth and EJ, I just want to share, right, is that when our nervous system responds to us learning new things, right? There is something inside that is longing to be seen and to be heard and to be validated. But your body, because your body keeps the score, your body knows the truth. So it doesn't have to be a bad thing that that your heart is racing, right? Yes, it can feel like a little bit of anxiety and uncertainty, but maybe there's also some hope in there. Maybe your body is going, hey, that's me. Hey, that's me. Can you help me now? Right? I think that was for me so long. My body was from the inside out going, hey, I need your help out there. And that's why till this day, when I place my hand on my heart and I whisper to myself, I am here, I am here, I am here. It's amazing every single time how my body responds to just that little bit of, you're not alone, right? Like the A study shared, so much of our stress and harm was because we didn't have anyone to talk to. And that's what I've also heard Vincent talk about, that many of the people that wrote him letters, he saved tons of letters from people that wrote in gratitude for having being asked these questions. Like they went to the doctor and they were given the questionnaire that Lady Leo mentioned. And they were so grateful. And he tells the story about this one elderly woman, like 80 something, and she wrote him a letter and she thanked him because she said, I finally got to tell someone. I thought I was going to go to the grave with this information that no one was going to ask what happened to me. And so, yes, as it is hard for us, right, to put it out there, there is a part of us that is dying to be seen and heard and to be validated. And really, the part that lives in our nervous system and is in there, when we can become the card for today, when we can become the hero we were looking for, the person that we needed, become the parent and the protector that we needed. And because of the A study, this is also why when I hear people's stories, and I know it's just something that happened to you, it's not who you are, right? It's not what I see. I see this. I know that in there, behind those numbers, is a hero. One day, she understood that she had been a hero all along. There you go, Rob. That's right, Rob. You are. You are. I hear you, Elizabeth, right? People like to know things I don't want to share, but ignore what I really want to share. I hear you. I hear you, my friend. And that is my wish for all of you, my friends. May you be seen. May you be heard. May you be validated. May you feel loved. And what we know also is that when we feel heard, right, really heard, then we feel loved. Good. I'm glad you shared it, Elizabeth. This is it. This is it. Time and the place to share. And again, this is also why I keep saying you are miracles, my friends. You are a miracle. And as we work our way through the layers, through the armor, through the stories, through the fear, through the fog, underneath it all are our beautiful, beautiful hearts, the essence and the truth of who you are. You inherently awesome, beautiful, courageous, loving, compassionate, and kind. That's who we are behind all those layers. All those layers. Hey, Elizabeth, EJ, not sure if I want more curl up in a ball or cry or climb out of my skin. Maybe even a little bit of both. I can understand, right? I can understand. I can understand. And do your best to show your body and yourself a little bit of tenderness. A little bit of tenderness. Right? And remind your body and your nervous system, right? I hear you, I feel you, I see you, I am coming, not tonight, I am coming for you, not right now, I am coming to get you, I am coming to help you, I am doing my best, and I'm going as as fast as I can, but I have to go slow. But I hear you, I see you, I feel you. All right, sweet friends. As always, it's lovely to be here with you. Please stay safe, stay healthy, take really, really, really good care of this body that you have, this home. It is always, always, always doing the best it can. It can't help it. It's always fighting for you. And I'm over here fighting for you too. There you go, Sue. That's it. Only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. And that's always the right pace. We can't heal in the fifth gear. That fast pace doesn't work. Yep, exactly. I know, Sue. All right, lovelies. Please take good care of yourselves. Stay connected. Do the best you can. I appreciate you. And I look forward to being back here with you on Blur's Day, Rob. I think all this week is Blur's Day, right? But on Thursday. All right, friends. Take good care. You're welcome. You're welcome. See you next time. All right, friends. Bye now.